That was an interesting 2 years in the Pentagon, and then at the completion of those 2 years, I was given the responsibility to go back to Groton, Connecticut, and be the commander of Submarine Group 2 in Groton from 1994 to 1996. And during those particular 2 years, it was a privilege to finish the construction of the Los Angeles class of submarines at Groton at Electric Boat, and to finish the construction of the Trident submarines. And as the commander of Submarine Group 2, I was the senior officer embarked on board those ships for their first sea trials, and I went to sea on a number of those sea trials to make sure that the crews could operate their ships properly. And I was also the first regional commander of the Northeast region. It was a transition that the Navy had made to regionalize its shore-based installations, and I was responsible to bring together all of the shore facilities from New Jersey, New York, and all the way up to Maine. So I had 8 states of New England and New York and New Jersey that I was responsible for the naval bases in those particular areas to try and synergize and streamline the infrastructure associated with those bases, which was a very emotional and very challenging responsibility because for example, I went and visited Lakehurst Naval Air Station, which was a base that was operated under the auspices of Naval Air Systems Command. And here I was, a submariner from a submarine base up in Groton, coming down to see what we could do about establishing cooperation and collaboration with the leadership of that particular base. When I got back to Groton after the visit, I got a phone call from the Nav Air commander saying, "Don't come back to my base again. I don't want to see you back on my base." Yeah, so you can see that there was a little bit of jealousy and rivalry associated with the responsibilities for our shore installations. But so it was an interesting experience that we went through as we transitioned the responsibility for our shore bases to operational commanders, which even today is still continuing. We now have a much different organizational structure for the responsibility of our naval installations. Subsequent to the completion of that command tour in 1996, I went to Omaha, Nebraska, and I became the director of operations and logistics at Strategic Command, a command that had the predecessor of which had been the Strategic Air Command, an Air Force command in Omaha, where they operated all of the nuclear missiles from that particular base. But the Navy had always had a presence out there because that's where they had done targeting for all of our ballistic missile submarines. So in 1992, they'd actually converted from SAC to Strategic Command, and I became the operational commander, the commander of all of the operational portions of the staff in 1996. And in doing that, we were responsible for transitioning the communications infrastructure from Air Force planes to Navy planes. We were responsible for doing the inspections associated with all of the operations of the strategic bases and strategic platforms around our Air Force and our Navy, and for all the command and control documents that were provided to all of those particular platforms. So it was a joint assignment, and it was quite an interesting experience to have the opportunity to be there and to be responsible for the transition of much of our strategic arsenal from what it had been during the Cold War to what it is today.
Great.
So I finished that particular career, and in May of 1999, I retired from the Navy and went into the civilian world in Omaha. So that's 31 years.